The Octonauts and the Frown fish. The Octonauts and the Frown fish. It was a quiet and rainy afternoon at the bottom of the ocean when Professor Inkling was dusting his dust jackets, Quasi Kitten was watering his catnip, Tune-Up the Vegemite was tossing his salad, Peso Penguin was pinging, Tweak Bunny was playing a game, Captain Barnacle's bear was singing in the rain, Shellington Sea Otter was ponging, Dashy Dog was sounding the octo-alarm. The crew hurried down to HQ to find Dashy monitoring the octopod screens anxiously. "There's a fish with a very big frown upside down," she reported to the others. "He looks so glum that all the creatures around him are starting to get upset too." "I can't find a fish like him on the Octonet," Dr. Shellington said excitedly. "Could he be a new species? Octonauts? We should investigate," Professor Inkling declared. Up close, the little fish looked even gloomier. "Why are you so sad?" Dashy asked with concern, but the fish only replied, "Glub, glub." With what a dilemma, none of the Octonauts spoke Frownese. "Perhaps if we understood his language, then we could help him," Dr. Shellington proposed. Shellington and Dashy spent hours in the lab trying to learn Frownese, but it proved to be a very difficult language to translate. "I don't think we can work much longer," Dashy sighed. "I'm starting to feel unhappy myself. Let's think of other ways to cheer him up." "Playing music with my friends always brightens my day," Peso shyly suggested. He invited everyone to pick up an instrument. As the crew gathered together to play a happy song, other creatures joined in. There was a clam capella group, a sea orchestra, and a baritone whale. Unfortunately, the frown fish didn't have an ear for music and continued to pout. "It's hard to feel sad when you're being glamorous," Quasi announced with a flourish. "Let's have a dress-up party." This little fish tried on many different costumes. A cowboy, a ghost, a princess, a magic user, a vampire, a bumblebee, a clown, a doctor, ice cream, rock star, Frankenstein. But none of them could disguise his sadness. Dashy held up her favorite camera and asked, "Why don't we visit famous snail gardens? We could have a photography field trip." The Octonauts took photos of big snails and little snails, striped snails, polka dot snails. The frownfish, however, would not even smile for the camera. "A game of miniature golf always tickles my fancy," revealed Dr. Shellington. The group putted and swung their way through many aquatic obstacles, sand shark traps, sea dragons, and electric eel tunnels. The frownfish scored a hole-in-one on the king crab course, but he didn't look any happier. I like working with my paws. Let's build something, Tweak suggested. Surrounded by gadgets and contraptions, the crew constructed a robo-tank for the Frown fish. Tweak stood back and admired their work. Now our friend can use his new sea legs to visit us inside the octopod. If possible, the Frown fish looked even frownier. Tuna chirped eagerly as it led the group into the kitchen. Vegemals love to cook and bake. Maybe the Frown fish is hungry, Dr. Shellington interpreted helpfully. The crew sat down to make their favorite pastries. They baked kelp cakes, kelp muffins, and even a fancy kelp souffle. The Frown fish ate an entire plate of cookies, but still he looked unsatisfied. There's nothing like pursuing the printed word to stimulate the intellect and galvanize the imagination, Professor Inkling exclaimed to a confused crew. To the library, my delightful colleagues. Professor Inkling read from his favorite book of jokes, but the Frownfish didn't laugh once. Frownfish must not have funny bones, Inkling decided. The other Octonauts weren't too sure. They didn't get the jokes either. I always feel better after exercise, Captain Barnacle said. The Octonauts swooshed down the slide, climbed the jungle gym, and rode the seesaw. Peso and the Frownfish sat on the merry-go-round while Quasi pushed them faster and faster until... whoop! The Frownfish flew right off. The little fish turned, bounced, and rolled over. Everyone rushed over in alarm. They had only been trying to cheer him up, but now he might have gotten hurt. To the Octonaut's surprise, the Frownfish had a big smile on his face. Of course, Professor Inkling realized. He's not a Frownfish, he's an upside-down fish. There are different types of fish that swim upside down. It's easier for them to spot food. This chap is a fine example of an upside-down catfish. Everyone laughed in relief to discover that their new friend had been smiling the whole day. The catfish made a big erp and turned himself upside down. Or was it right side up? The end. Good night.
Subscribe for a new bedtime story every night.